It's a beautiful morning. It's Aloha Sunday. 'Cause it's a beautiful morning. And it's breakfast with Bob and Paul.
Welcome everyone, Championship Edition, Breakfast from Kona, presented by Active, #Inspired to Race. My name is Bob Babbitt, his name is Paul Huddle. We are sponsored by Timex, Rudy Project, GoPro, MPA Graphics, Lava Magazine, Babbittville Radio. Our next guest, a rookie no more, finishing third at his first ever Ironman World Championship, Mr. Jan Frodeno. So pretty easy, right? Just sort of walk in the park a little bit?
Yeah, walk is kind of what I was thinking of for a lot of the time. I didn't find the park, but yeah, it was a tough day out there.
Jan, people saw you come off the bike, and I think obviously the talk all week, and now you know what the hype is like. It just builds up into this frenzy. But coming off the bike, everyone said, "Wow, Frodeno looked horrible. He looked like his feet hurt. He looked like every step hurt at that point." But it seemed like you obviously got it together. We were watching the splits going, "Oh my God, poor Jan, here he goes. He's going, back, and then all of a sudden, boom, made that rush to the front." How did it feel getting off the bike, and at what point did things start to come around a little bit for you?
Well, just on the bike already, to come back a little bit, the problem for me mentally was dealing with a penalty. I've never ever had one, and I just wasn't.
What was it for?
For drafting. And it was basically when I got a puncture.
Yes.
And what everybody's saying about in the bunch, I pulled back into the bunch. Apparently the gap wasn't big enough. Boom, 4 minutes.
Yeah.
So I sort of was like, well, you get the puncture, and then you get the penalty on top of it.
Yeah.
And
After Frankfurt, where you had 3 flats.
Yeah, exactly. and just standing on the side of the road, mentally at that point, I couldn't deal with it. I just somehow surrendered.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to come back from that. On the bike, I couldn't hit any more number. My numbers weren't good enough anymore. I actually had to switch my Garmin off for the first time. Sort of getting back, and really I just thought about finishing. I thought it's my first time here, for future races and what I would like to achieve on this island. I just have to pull this off. And that was the first Alihi drive, actually, the whole time. At one stage, I just stuck my head in the ice bucket at one of the A stages.
Did you really?
Yeah, I really honestly took a dive into one of those things. Anything that would help,
Yeah.
And then, strangely enough, that second half, I was like, well, I'm not cramping yet. I'm sore, but I'm not, I don't feel like I'm falling over. I might as well give this a shot. So I just thought, all right, let's get a rhythm, find a rhythm. And if I still feel good at the top of the energy lab coming out, I'm going to run as hard as I can until I cramp up. And I couldn't wait quite that long. I already did the turnaround in the energy lab. I saw Ben and Freddie up ahead, and I was running with Potsy and Tim Van Berkel at the time. And I thought, you know what, let's go for it. And yeah.
And you end up having the fastest run of the day.
Podium. Yeah, I honestly, really, I just didn't want to get checked. I did not want to get outrun by Mirinda Carfrae. I was like, last year I was laughing about everybody. I was like, no, by all means, it's tough enough when your wife's Emma Snowsall.
Yeah.
Yes.
Formerly Emma Snowsall, then, you've always got hard competition in the family. So I just couldn't be checked.
Like you said, you're laughing about it last year, but this year I bet you weren't laughing. I bet you're like, oh, okay, now I get it. This is possible. This can happen.
Did you see her?
I did see her, and she was moving well. I'm sure her first half marathon would have been faster than mine, for sure.
That is so funny. Was there a point when first of all, the other thing that happened is you come out of transition, and we go, he's coming out of transition. Wait, he's going back in transition. What the heck?
Well, that was just, I decided to change outfits between cycling and running, because I thought with the heat and everything here, the two-piece, it just works well. And I still had my suit over my shorts, basically, and so I decided to quickly go back. And
is it hard to run by your condo when you're not feeling good?
Like
Air conditioned. There's all sorts of nice stuff in there.
Well, yeah, especially I just really felt like a beer. I felt like anything savory, because all day, all you're having is all this sweet stuff, and there's more sweet stuff, and then there's warm sweet stuff, which is even worse. It just suffocates you from the inside. So I really just felt like a cold beer, and that was pretty close at one stage, yeah.
That is wild.
So, having finished that race, I'm sure you're extremely happy now, because I know how easy it is at that point. I'm sure you were like, you know what, throw in the towel. You know what, it's not going well for me today. Penalty, flat, etc. Now you have something to look at, and it must be really inspiring to you to know that 4 minutes for your penalty, probably at least a minute, maybe more for that flat, the out and back in transition. Look at the differential between you and first place. It looks like about that much time.
5 minutes,
there should have been a drag race coming down a Lee Drive between you and Kienle.
Well, I don't look at those scenarios ever, because you never know when you're running together and what happens. I certainly don't want to take anything away from Sebastian, because he had an epic race, and really he was the one racing for first place all day yesterday. It was really him,
Yeah.
But what really it does show me is that there is potential, and sort of my training and things are on the right path, because I'm a Kona rookie, but my coach is a Kona rookie as well. So we sort of put things together and thought we would do things how we think they're going to go well. And I'm really looking forward to coming back here.
Now, you said earlier in the week, when we first chatted with you, that you had arrived a while ago, but your legs didn't show up till Tuesday or Wednesday of this week. Now that you know that from the experience from this year, how does that help for next year?
Next year, I'm definitely going to have a bit of a better heat acclimatization, I think. It was just the European summer wasn't the best, so it was never really as hot as it can be, even where we prepare in Spain. If the summer next year again turns out to be a little bit more mild, I'll probably come out even earlier, just to get ready for it and acclimatize, because it is definitely something that makes this race unique.
Are there other lessons you're going to take away from this race? I mean, obviously it's a whole week. Talking to your wife yesterday during the race, she said you were a bit out to lunch last week, and it was something unusual for you. She actually said, "Who are you? You need to get yourself together. Where'd my husband go?"
Yeah, I think that's what every wife or husband says before the race. It's just when we're here, we just get focused and get caught up, and of course, there's a fair bit of pressure, and but it's the same. Like whenever we don't feel well, we just aliens. Like I don't know. Honestly, I turn into this. I can't switch off, because I really want to go well, and I need that sort of that feedback from a good session in order to make me a happy guy. Because sport is what defines me. It's what makes me, and if it doesn't go well, I'm not a happy fella.
So bad training day means you're not happy.
Pretty much. I mean, I can handle one because I know it's all right. But when it's like consecutive days and it's just that far off, then I'll start getting a bit worried, I'll be honest.
Love it. Hey, Jan, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
Thank you for being such a class act. Obviously, you're a guy who can win this race. And compare just quickly the Olympic experience and the Ironman experience. Obviously, two of the pinnacles of our sport. But what did you feel this lived up to the hype?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it was an amazing week and amazing time we had here. And even yesterday after the race, just relaxing, with a few friends. Yeah. And the whole vibe of it is just absolutely unique. And you get to spend the race in one of the most special places in the world. I mean, look at this thing.
This is my office.
It's exactly, yeah. And that every year. So I'm really impressed and really looking forward to coming back.
All right, Jan Frodeno has been our guest. The fastest run of the day, despite everything that went on out there.
What happened in the swim? Because
Oh, you and Potsy were together, right?
Yeah, I was first out of the water, but I think he may have been first up
the ramp. Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, they've got you both at the same time.
Oh, okay, cool.
When was the last time that first and second out of the water
you could totally
actually
see a little swimming pride going on there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Usually the swimming, swim doesn't matter.
He's like, nope, my friend, you're not getting the swim time on me.
No, but the first two guys out of the water finished third and fourth.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like,
that's amazing.
Because I thought he'd have a swim preem on it, and I was like, well, you have it. But then I was like, I just swam 3.5K and led you all the way here, and now you want to outswim
Now you
me?
want it?
Not happening.
And
So
you
you went by
know,
him.
Oh, yeah. I was,
you know, back in the day, they used to have preems for top 5 swim, top 5 bike, top 5 run, and then if you
right.
were in all 3 of those, you got an additional bonus on top of that.
Oh,
So,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Huddle said he's going to add that for next year.
Yes, exactly. I'm gonna personally, go ahead and fund that.
Jan Frodeno has been our guest. Again, this is Breakfast from Kona Championship Edition, presented by Active, #Inspired to Race, brought to you by Timex Rudy Project, GoPro, MPA Graphics, Lava Magazine, Babbittville Radio, and Mr. Poncho Man.
It's Aloha Sunday, and it's a beautiful morning. It's Aloha Sunday, and it's a beautiful morning. It's breakfast with Bob. It's breakfast with Bob and Paul.
Thank you, Poncho Man. Legend.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks.
morning from Kona town. I said good morning from Kona town. It's breakfast with Bob. It's breakfast with Bob and Brother Paul.
Thank you, Poncho Man. Bob Babbitt, Paul Huddle here. This is Breakfast from Kona, Championship Edition. We are presented by Active, #Inspired to Race. We're sponsored by Timex, Rudy Project, GoPro, MPA Graphics, Lava Magazine, of course, Babbittville Radio. Our next guest did not race yesterday, but he's an Olympic silver medalist from 2012. He is a 2014 Ironman 70.3 world champion with a 1:09 half marathon off the bike. Javier Gomez, are you doing a little scouting here this week, checking this race out?
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, it's been a fantastic week, and I wanted to be here to check the course and the atmosphere here. It's a very special race, very different. And of course, I would love to do it one day, so it's good to get familiar with the place.
Javier, I don't think there's anybody in the sport right now who isn't excited. You know, I think you're probably the guy who everyone is most excited to see come and race in Kona. You mentioned, one day. When do you think that one day might come?
Yeah, I know there's many people excited about that, and I'm really excited. I mean, this is a challenge for me. I think this race is just probably one of the best races in the world, and of course I would love to do it, but not before 2016, because my main goal is going to be Rio Olympics.
Sure.
And after that, of course, I would like to give it a try. But yeah, I think this is a very, very tough race, so I would like to prepare it properly.
So what's the date on the Olympics in 16?
It's August, I think, beginning of August.
We'll see you in October of 16.
Yeah, have a couple of months of training. Not sure about that, but maybe just to do it and get experience could be a good thing, and then prepare it properly for 2017. I don't know. We'll see how the body responds in the next 2 years and what I feel like doing.
So the tough part is to get here, you have to go do a full Ironman somewhere, and you've got the Olympics coming up in 16. So is this type of thing where you'd look in maybe early 2016 do an Ironman race?
That's the problem. Otherwise, I would come here 2016. But having to do at least another Ironman, I don't know. Maybe I could do one right after Olympic Games with no preparation, just to finish it.
And then to validate for the 5 minutes.
And then trying to validate. That would be one option. Otherwise, if I have to do all the qualification procedure, probably not. I wouldn't do it in 2016, and I would have to wait to 2017. But I'll see how things go, and I'll see what I do.
When you watch this race and you watch the athletes that have done it historically, and you see people like Michaela Jones, the silver medalist, when you see people like Jan, who you just watched, what does it tell you about the Olympic athletes? Because I think obviously all of us just sit here and go, well, they're so fast. They're running 30-minute 10Ks. They're obviously going to come here and run 2:30 in the marathon. Having seen what you saw yesterday, how does that change your view?
Well, I think it's not exactly like that. You can run 29 minutes or even 28 minutes for 10K, but this is a very different thing. All the nutrition, the fueling, and being able to perform in the heat is the key. So I think no matter how fast running you are, well, it's important, but there are many other things important for this race, and you have to prepare and approach it very different than Olympic distance. For me, racing 70.3 is a distance that suits me very well. But it's pretty similar than like Olympic distance. I didn't prepare it specifically when I did the World Championships a few weeks ago, but I think with that kind of training for Olympic, you can. It's just 3 hours 45 race. So we do that on training sometimes.
Sure.
So you don't need much. It's just a fast race still.
Just 3:45. No big deal.
Yeah.
Have you spent a lot of time riding out on the course, and what do you think from being on that course?
That was one of the reasons why I was here. I wanted to ride on the course. I wanted to swim here.
Yes.
I wanted to run a little bit and see how it feels. And the bike course, it's rolling up and down all the time, and really hot. And the wind, I think, is the key factor of this race, especially on the way back. And it's where the differences are made. So I have a lot of respect for this race, and that's why I would like to come here one day and prepare it properly.
How hard is it? Let's talk a little bit about the Olympics. How hard is it for you and all these athletes who are preparing for that one day every 4 years? And right now we're sort of in the middle of that cycle. When you look forward to the Olympics, obviously you have a plan, but how often does that plan go exactly according to how you want it to go? And what are the events that you see as markers leading up to the Olympics from here?
It never goes exactly as you want it to go. You know, there are always things like injuries or problems or illnesses, or you have to change your schedule and do different races.
Yeah.
But that's part of the game. You have your plan in mind, but you need to be able to change things if you need to, and see how you feel in training, and try to learn and improve, you know. And that's when you have only one chance every 4 years, it could be unfair, but that's the way sport is.
And right now, everybody thinks, okay, it's Javier and the Brownlees, but are there other athletes who could be peaking at that time where you're like, oh, it's not Javier and the Brownlees, it's
Definitely.
actually...
The Brownies are really tough to beat, but I wish I would only race against them. I mean, there are many other people, especially in 2 years' time, and Mario Mola is coming up really strong, very fast runner, and in a one-day race, anything can happen. And but what I think is that the stronger you are, the fitter you are, the higher chances you have to get success. So we'll see.
Yeah.
So have there been times when you've been riding out on the Queen K Highway and thinking, this isn't that bad, the wind's not bad, and there have been other times where you're going, oh my God, this wind is crazy?
Yeah, sometimes the wind is crazy, and obviously when you ride easy on training, it feels always good, but when you push hard and you start sweating, you feel so warm, and you have the headwind on the way back. It's like, this is a tough race, 180K in these conditions, and then running a whole marathon on a very tough course, going up and down all the time. Yeah, I mean, I know most of the guys, many guys who were racing yesterday, you know how fast young can run, you know. I see them like struggling, suffering. It's like, wow, this must be tough.
Was it hard for you to watch yesterday? Did you want to be in that race?
I wanted to be at the beginning, so exciting. But then when you see the faces in the last 10K of the marathon, and I'm happy to be here just watching. But it was really exciting. The guys, they gave their best, and it was great to watch. And again, really, really proud of everyone who finished that race. It's just amazing.
Are you excited to see the opportunities for racing Ironman coming to Spain now? Obviously, it's always been in Lanzarote, then Mallorca, now in Barcelona. I mean, it's just growing, but now you have the opportunity really to race at home, and there's plenty of racing opportunities.
It's amazing. I mean, this sport has changed so much in the last few years, especially in Spain. We have more and more races. Now we have lots of Ironman distance races, so well, it's good. Of course, I love to race in Spain, and when I have the chance, I like to do races there. I did my last race of the year in Barcelona. I want to finish there in front of the crowd, the people from my country. So, hope one day I can do an Ironman in Spain too.
Love it. Javier, thank you so much for taking time. What a class act. I imagine you're going to have a reunion of 2008 Olympics. Jan Frodeno, Javier Gomez.
Yeah, these two guys, you talk to athletes, class act, I think, sums it up. But it's so much fun to talk to you guys. Thanks for being who you are.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Javier Gomez has been our guest. Again, this is Breakfast from Kona, Championship Edition. We're at beautiful Huggos. We're presented by Active. # Inspired to Race. Our sponsors, Timex Rudy Project, GoPro, MPA Graphics, Lava Magazine, Babbittville Radio. Poncho Man, take us out.
Good morning from Kona Town. The sun is shining. Good morning from Kona Town. The sun is shining. And it's breakfast with Bob. And it's breakfast with Bob and Paul.
Thank you, Poncho Man. Legend. Thank you very much. like it.
Sun is shining in the water, birds are chirping. It's breakfast with Bob. I say, the sun is shining in the water, birds are chirping. It's breakfast with Bob. It's breakfast with Bob and Paul.
Thank you, Poncho Man. Welcome to our championship edition, Breakfast from Kona. My name is Bob Babbitt. His name is Paul Huddle. We are presented by Active, #Inspired to Race. Our sponsors are Timex, Rudy Project, GoPro, MPA Event Graphics, Lava Magazine, Babbittville Radio. Huge breakthrough race for our next guest,
Can we
Ben
start
Hoffman.
the chant, Bob?
What?
USA.
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 Second and fourth. What I
Yes.
love is this is a little bit of progression, and Ben, correct me if wrong. So first time here, 56th, then jumped all the way up to 42nd. Yeah. Then DNF, then 15th,
Yep.
then second.
Yeah.
What the hell? What happened?
I'm
What-
still
what-
kind of asking myself that too, you know. As much as I felt really prepared this year, I thought a top 10 was a realistic goal.
Yeah.
You know, take that step from 15th forward to 10th or
Yes.
in that top 10 somewhere. Which I was, of course, at second, but that was even beyond my
Yeah.
expectations for the day. So, you know, I think I just played a really smart tactical race, and I knew I was strong on the run. So when I came off the bike in that 5th position or so,
Yeah.
I just battled, you know, and it turned out really well.
Yeah, you know, we looked at the splits every year, and we look at this, and it seems like it's getting deeper and deeper, and it really showed this year. I mean, from second to eighth, I think was 5 minutes.
Yep.
So I mean, you
Yes.
guys were just bing, 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 bing coming in. How intimidating was it to be out there on the run course? And I think I talked to a number of people who were on what we call Mark Allen Hill, right? It's like sort of Mark and Dave's spot where the move is always made. And Jan Frodeno, who has
gold medalist.
decent running credentials, I mean, he's okay.
Yeah. Not bad.
Was like, I think within 30 seconds. And when I talked to a couple of people, Rock said, no, not 30 seconds. He was much closer than that. But to have someone like that breathing down your neck going up that hill, you must have known it, right? And you obviously had significant fortitude to be able to go, not today, my friend.
Yeah, you know, I was deep in a dark place at the end there, and to have Jan breathing down my neck like that added to the pressure, of course. But I had some hamstring cramping, like, you know, it's pretty normal at the end of the run there from mile 22 on, and I was like, no, not right now. You know, this can't be happening. And then,
Maybe later.
like I said, of course, having Jan there was a big threat. But you know, I stuck to my plan all day, and at the end there, you know, I feel like I've had enough experience with the Ironman distance that I'm used to that pain, and you know, I knew that I felt that I could make it to the end strongly, so I pushed up that last hill, and you know, the rest is history.
So when you go from, you know, the 40th to 15th, that's a huge jump, right? And once
Yeah.
you're in the top 15, there's no reason you can't be in the
You
top
got a
three.
shot, yeah.
What led to the big jump from 40th to 15th?
You know, probably just really consistent training over
Yeah.
the years, and
staying
I think
injury-free,
to me,
that makes
yeah,
a
of course,
difference.
right, yeah. I mean, I had the DNF year where I had a soleus injury, and that, you know, was unfortunate, but you know, it's all a learning process, and when I think about success in sport, I think it's a process of self-belief, and for me, you know, making that step from 42nd to 15th after the DNF was more just about believing in myself than anything, and you know, building a really good support network, consistent training, and then racing intelligently out here. I mean, Hawaii is such a unique animal when it comes to Ironman racing, and you really have to do the small things, you know, to be
Right.
competitive out here. So staying cool, you know, and knowing where to position yourself on the bike, and yeah, and then never really giving up, because so much happens in this race. You know, from Hawaii, well, really from Javi back, and then of course on the marathon through the Energy Lab and back. There's so many changes that happen, so you can never really count yourself out.
So you've won a number of Ironman races, but as you
Classic,
mentioned, Hawaii is a
Portland,
different
yeah.
animal, and part of the learning process, I would guess, is the week before, because the week before, I think we had 40-ish interviews
48.
here. Didn't happen to include a guy named Ben Hoffman,
No.
but we had Tim O'Donnell, who I guess was everybody thought finishing fifth last year.
Yes,
He's
ready to move up.
the obvious guy.
Right.
And then there's obviously Andy Potts is there every year. But everyone knows Ben Hoffman, but in Hawaii, because you were 15th, that was your
Sure.
best performance so far, no one's really including you in that conversation. Now that you are being included in that conversation, next year I think you're going to have a bit of a target and the added pressure. There's always pressure in the hype, but now you've just, guess what, my friend? You've just like said, I'm here.
No more
Right?
flying under the radar. I know. Well,
Right. So how is that going to affect you? And are you prepared for that next year?
it's really hard to predict how that'll affect me. I know that it will be an added pressure, and I'm sure there'll be more obligations. My sponsors have been great about working with me, especially this week. Like you said, it's not the same being 15th to second, but it's hard to predict. But I'll do my very best to prepare. And I felt like I really built a good support network for myself this year, put myself in a good place mentally, and had all the pieces in place. So if I can replicate something like that, even amidst all the new obligations and time commitments, then I think I can have a good race. I know people have done it before. Somebody like Rennie comes back here every single year, and she's always in the mix. So if somebody else can do it, hopefully I can do it too.
And we've seen folks, Pete Jacobs was second, he came here and won. Thomas Hellriegel was second, he came here and won. It's sort of the natural progression. Rennie was second and then she won. So people are going to be talking about, when we're talking next year about who's can win this race, they're going to say Ben Hoffman can win this race.
Yeah.
There's a difference between, hey, I want to go from 15th to be up there to winning the race. Did you surprise yourself yesterday? Huddle looked on your website and it said, hey, I want to be first American, correct?
Well, it said I want to be one of the top Americans in Ironman,
Right.
and I'm looking at your results going, no, you want to be one of the top Ironman racers in the world, period.
Right.
End of story.
Yeah.
But did you surprise yourself yesterday? When there's a point where you're coming down a lead drive and you know that you've got, well, I don't even know if you knew you had second for sure. Did you look back to make sure Frodeno wasn't coming?
Somebody asked me that. They said, when did you know you had second or whatever it was? And I said, I honestly didn't know until I crossed the line. And that's how I really feel about Ironman racing, especially when your legs start to cramp and you're really on that edge the whole time at the end. And, I guess for me, I did surprise myself, and I think I had done really quality work, and I did, I said that process of self-belief, I have believed in myself more and more.
Yeah.
But actually, it was something that Tim O'Donnell said, I think, before the race that really resonated with me. He said something like, there's 15 guys that can win this race. You mentioned the top 15, and they're all really very competitive here. And he said, but there's only about, maybe 5 or 6 of those that really believe they can win this race. And so I started thinking about it, and I said, I'm there. I put myself there this year. I felt really confident in my training and where my headspace was, and I got out there in the race, and I really like to focus on what's in front of me. So, I don't like a lot of splits behind me. You get them from the moto sometimes, sure. But I like to think about what's in front of me. And there was a point, in the race where obviously I knew about Frodeno, but really my focus throughout the day was just trying to move forward. Yeah, it was a long, way in front. He was probably eight minutes for most of the day. But towards the end, I started pulling some time back, and in Ironman, you never know, right? So, but yeah, I absolutely did surprise myself. It's pretty surreal right now, but I'm ecstatic. It's awesome.
Has your phone blown up?
Twitter,
it has.
Facebook, everything.
To anyone out there who's watching now, I want to say, I'll get back to you. It's going to take probably at least a week or something, but a lot of emails. I have an incredible support network. I was telling somebody that I have a friend who's on a drill rig in Africa. It was a high school friend of mine, and he's got all of his friends out there cheering for me, and people in Tucson. My family's out here with me. There's just a bunch of people that are involved in this effort, and it really bolsters you. When I'm out there racing hard, I think about it a lot. I think about all the people that have made sacrifices and have been part of the journey, and yeah, I'm very grateful to them. So I'll get back to you soon.
It was really cool. U.S. racing. I heard our CEO from Europe, Middle East, and Africa, Thomas Dieckhoff, say in a press conference, "This is a European race now. You look at who the dominant players are at Ironman in Hawaii, and it's Europeans." And so to watch you run down that finish line with that American flag was really, I think, for a lot of the U.S. fans and people who have been in the sport a long time, a source of pride. And it's really cool to see you and Andy and Tim and all the guys that are coming up in Ironman right now.
Yeah.
You went to University of Montana?
That's right. Yeah, I got my start in triathlon at the University of Montana, Missoula. Actually, Lindsey Corbin and I started at the same time.
Really?
Yeah, there was a big crew of us up there, and we just had a really good team, a lot of fun. So, yeah, those are my roots in the sport.
Collegiate.
Do you have a cowboy hat that you're racing?
I don't do that. That's her shtick. But yeah,
You should carry a cactus or something.
Yeah,
in between.
yeah. I've gone more with the auto racing theme with the checkered flag, and that's kind of my new thing that I do. But yeah, no, it was a really, really fun time, and I think to me that's really what kept me going in the sport too. Was that I started in a really fun place, something that was enjoyable, and I always told myself that I would do this as long as it was fun. And fortunately, the progression's been, obviously really positive trajectory. So I'm still doing it. I'm looking forward to another probably 10 years of hopefully racing healthy and having fun.
When did you feel that you could make a living at this? Because it's a tough sport to make it as a professional athlete, and you've had some big wins. Which win was it that made you realize, you know what, this could be my future?
I think probably it's actually pretty easy. I had a second place at Ironman St. George in 2010.
When it was a full.
Yes.
That was an easy race.
Yeah, that was
super
flat
easy,
and fast. Yeah.
Yeah, really quick course.
Yeah, no climbing at all, right?
Right. Yeah.
Huddle created that one.
Yeah.
He also created the rack.
Downhill.
He also created the electric chair.
Yeah.
Pretty much anything that hurts people. That's what Huddle
that's
does.
on that level. That was an absolutely brutal course, especially that run where you would come back into town. You had to do that second lap up on top of Red Hills Parkway, and it was hard to wrap your head around that one. But I had a good, very solid race there. I held off Chris McDonald, and that basically showed me that I could be competitive at an Ironman. And then later that year, I went to Ironman Lake Placid and I won.
Won there.
And that was, I would say, that's kind of what solidified it for me and got me the attention, the title of an Ironman champion. And I mean, from that point on, especially in 2011, I was able to secure some good sponsors, and that was the next step for me in terms of making a living at it.
So obviously you want to enjoy this. This has been an amazing performance, but I know how you guys are. This will set in for maybe a week, and then you'll be looking forward to next year. Is there any plan in terms of the racing that you'll do, the stepping stones that you'll take to come back here?
I feel like I did a really good preparation. I think I executed my best race. I mean, I look at what happened yesterday, and I mean, hats off to Sebastian. He raced an excellent race. He had a very solid swim for him. His bike was absolutely incredible in those wins.
Yeah.
And, then he ran just like he needed to, very solid and steady. And, and he did the same thing at the European Championships. And I think, Frederick said after the race something like, I had an amazing day, but Kienle had a better day. And that's how I feel about my race here, that he was a very deserving champion. I had my best race on the day, and I'm excited about that. There's obviously things that I'm going to work on and improve. I think my run needs to be even, a bit faster than that. Yeah. And then obviously, if you want to stay in the same ballpark, if that plays out like it did yesterday, you need to be a little closer off the bike with Kienle there. So, yeah, I mean, I'll go back to work. As far as the racing goes, I don't really have a schedule planned. I'd kind of like to clean the slate, maybe with do an Ironman later this year.
Yeah.
And then have a clean slate next year to kind of look at, some options. Yeah. And put myself in probably some of those bigger races. I mean, maybe look at a Frankfurt or something like that.
Yeah.
Where you're pretty sure you're going to get a very solid men's field and practice that racing against the best in the world.
Love it. Hey, Ben, thanks so much for joining us, man.
Yeah,
it's really nice to
me,
get to know you. It's always great to see up-and-coming young American guys make an impact. I don't think we've had two Americans in the top 5 forever.
A long time, yeah.
Has it been since David
long
Mark
time.
in 1989?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
And when
seriously.
Tim DeBoom won, I don't know, Cam Whittoff was in there, but he was
I think
like
he was
9th or 6th or something like that.
Yeah.
So you're leading the resurgence, my man. Thank you so much for doing that.
It's been fun.
All right, again, this is Breakfast from Kona. My name is Bob Babbitt. His name is Paul Huddle. This is our championship edition. We're presented by Active, #Inspired to Race, brought to you by Timex, Rudy Project, GoPro, MPA Graphics, Lava Magazine, Babbittville Radio. And we do have a Timex watch for our main man, Ben Hoffman.
I'm sure he doesn't have one, too.
I don't think he's got one. Poncho Man, take us out.
Sun is shining in the waters, birds are chirping. It's breakfast with Bob and Paul. It's breakfast with Bob and Paul. It's breakfast with Bob.
Poncho Man! Woo!
Thanks, guys. Yeah, it was awesome.
breakfast with Bob. It's breakfast with Bob and Paul.
Thank you, Poncho Man. Welcome to Breakfast from Kona Championship Edition. My name is Bob Babbitt. His name is Paul Huddle. We are presented by Active, #Inspired to Race, and brought to you by Timex, Rudy Project, GoPro, MPA Graphics, Lava Magazine, and Babbittville Radio. Huddle.
Babbitt,
Our next guest.
another one of the USA athletes in the top 5.
Yes.
Yeah,
Second and
that's
fourth,
right.
Mr.
Yep.
Andy Potts, Olympian and fourth place finisher yesterday.
Not
That
too
had
bad.
to be exciting for you.
Yeah, this is my 6th race here,
Yeah.
and I was I'm a lot happier today, and now that
Yeah.
the race is over. When I crossed the line, I was probably the least ecstatic of all my
you know
finishes
what? It's
here.
exactly what I was thinking. Because in the past, I'm like, you're 7th. Because I think a number of those years, you weren't really preparing
No.
that much for this race, right?
That much or at all?
Because you were focused on other stuff.
Yeah,
70.3, business, getting all that different stuff. And I was like, man, he's pretty excited for 7th. I mean,
Sure.
nothing wrong with getting 7th, but wow, but yesterday, different.
Yeah, like some of my other finishes, like I had no business getting to the line. 1 year I actually had a bilateral hernia. And
During the race.
Yeah, so I had no business getting to the line. So I was really happy when I got there.
Yeah.
Or I just didn't prepare at all for the race. So, like when
you faked an Ironman.
Yeah, you fake it and you fake it till you make it.
I don't. No,
I was
not
going to
you
say,
fake
I don't
it.
know anybody
I
that
don't,
fakes
nobody
this
else. You were the
race.
only guy.
You're the
that
only guy
faked
that's
this,
ever
yeah.
faked it. Yeah.
But yeah, I prepared for this race, and I had high expectations, and I was happy that I put a few things together yesterday.
You put a lot
What
together.
are the few things that you put together in a 4th place finish?
My run
248.
Yeah, for
was
sure.
solid, and it was a slower run because we had a nice headwind heading back in out of the energy lab.
That's always nice.
So it wasn't too bad in terms of like the cooling aspects of it, and there was a little bit of cloud cover, but the wind made the run a little bit slower. But the thing that I could tell about my run was my stride was open all day. I never had the Ironman shuffle going
great.
on ever.
Not even in the last 10K. Nowhere in the last 10K.
No,
did you
I had
have
a
to go to
ton
that.
of drive.
Wow, that's
and,
amazing.
And sometimes Ironman shuffle will happen at like when you have to like make a 180 because you have to like chop your steps.
Right.
No, it was like I would drive
the
in,
corners.
plant, go.
Wow.
And so that tells me like my preparation is there. And so that was the highlight of the day was my running stride being open.
I've got to ask you, prior to the race, did you go through your breathing routine?
I did get to swim along the seawall, and I got into it a little bit. It wasn't as spastic as usual, just because there might have been a few more eyeballs out there. But
Just a few.
who's this guy? Looks like there's a panic attack happening before the race goes
Have
off.
them rescue before the race.
Right.
That's always
But
good.
not too bad.
So you won your 6th Alcatraz. You won. Is Placid 5 times? I mean, so Oceanside's 5 times.
Yes.
Oceanside's 5 times. Where does this rank for you? I mean, because this is you start getting in the top 5 here. That means you can win this race.
Yeah, I think I learned a lot last year watching, and I was 2 minutes back from Ben here yesterday. Sebastian was a little bit different. It was Sebastian to win.
It's his show.
Yep. And then 2nd through 7th was
2nd through 8th.
2nd through 8th is like
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
pretty close. I mean, very competitive.
Yeah.
I felt like there was a lot of shuffling, a lot of movement happening late in the race. Kept it exciting for all the fans of our sport, which is important to draw. It draws attention to our sport, and the more excitement, the better, right?
Absolutely.
And it forces the competitors to stay engaged. And it's like, hey, you got to be good to move up.
Yeah.
So you earn it, right? And so I learned a few things yesterday. I think I need to improve a little bit more on my biking. I thought I was better than I rode yesterday, but I didn't show it. So it's in there.
4:36. Nothing wrong with that.
And you can't ever discount your best, right? So I don't want to ever downplay my fastest ride, my fastest run,
my best finish.
Yes.
Be content, but not satisfied.
What's nice is first and second out of the water, finished third and fourth overall. Everybody talks about the swim doesn't
Yeah.
mean anything, right? Swim's important.
The swim isn't as important
No, I know.
as I'd like it to be. How's that?
How hard was it last year? I know you prepared for last year,
Yeah, I did.
and you had that like lower leg injury.
It ended up being a
kept-
stress fracture.
It was a stress fracture.
Yep.
And not being able to start here, that must have been really tough for you.
It was. Here's the thing, and other people can relate to this, hopefully. So, as a Type A personality, someone who's into, challenging their personal potential.
Yeah.
There's a misnomer out there that your results and your performance, that is a direct indication to you as a person. Like your finish means if you finish with a
You're
lower
successful
number
or, yeah.
behind your name, that means you are a better person.
Right.
It's not true.
Right.
The type of person that you are, the type of man or woman that you are, father, husband,
Yes.
that is how you handle situations and the example that you can set along the way to either onlookers, your kids, whomever it may be. That's what's important, not your race. Like just because if you win a race, you're not a better person
Sure you are.
necessarily. But we get
Which, Bob, that means you're really not
I'm
a
a
good
loser.
person. Yeah.
You're a lot better person than I am ever.
so
And Huddle's one, strong man. So you guys are both. I'm leaving now. What the
So
hell?
I think, unfortunately, you get wrapped up in stuff like that,
Yeah,
and it's not
absolutely.
true.
Yeah.
And that was a nice lesson to learn. Like, I was kind of miserable to be around the day of, just because it was like, I'm wrapping my personal
Right.
self-worth into this
But
performance.
don't you think it's harder for professionals to have that attitude because you guys this
That's
is
what
your
you do for a
job
living.
and you're measured by that performance? Obviously, the media, sponsors, everyone knows more than that about you. But in terms of you and knowing what you're out there to do, it's hard not to feel like that.
It might be easier for professionals just because, from a business standpoint, this is business.
Yeah.
And sometimes age groupers might struggle with, a good performance here means I am a better person.
Yeah.
So I can actually separate the two a little bit easier and differentiate between this is business, this is personal. But that all being said, it matters to me because I put a lot into it and I care.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was kind of like I had like a little bit of a broken heart, and I was miserable to be around until I got over it. After on the flight home.
Did that make you appreciate this race more?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
For sure. And I was less daunted coming into this race this year than any other year. I wasn't worried about accomplishing the distance. I wasn't worried if it was going to be blowy out there on the ride. I wasn't worried about the heat. My two biggest concerns on the race were, can I get enough calories in? Can I eat enough solids on the bike?
Yep.
And keep my energy up? And for me, that means if I'm able to fuel properly, then I'm focused mentally at the task at hand.
The whole
right?
time.
It's a total direct correlation.
Yes.
So that was number one. Can I fuel? I want to stay on my fuel. And number two is, after I get it down, can I keep it in?
Can I keep it down?
Can I not make potty stops?
Can I just barf immediately?
Yeah. And I was able to keep things down and in and fuel myself enough. And what that meant to me, race result wise, was coming out of the energy lab, I had drive and I had want, which is underrated, you know? Yeah.
So this question, we brought this up with Jan earlier, but Mirinda, 2 years in a row now, has gone 250 on the run.
Yeah, that's really good.
Our best men, she was, I think, in the top 5 among the run splits overall yesterday. Is that going to drive the men into the 240s? Is there something that the women's run split and her performance will tell you guys, you know what, we're mid to high 240s, it's time for us now to make the next jump? And how do you do that? Because when you look at your times Olympic distance or 10K, half marathon to her flat out, you guys are a lot faster.
Yeah.
But when you get to this distance, somehow the women close that gap, and in particular Mirinda. Is that inspiring the guys, do you think, now to go, we're all riding really fast. It's like we're light years ahead of the women, but now it's time to step it up on the run.
You know, Mirinda sure ran well yesterday.
Yeah, unbelievably.
Yeah, and
Fun to watch.
you know, her closing 14 minutes and to pull off the W for the third time, like she really had it going on the run. With that being said, and I don't want to ever take anything away from Mirinda, but no, it does not do anything to change the men and how fast we run.
No, that's good. That's good. Exactly.
We have a different set of what is required to perform well.
Right.
So this the skill set you need and the work that you need to put in to deliver the type of racing that we do is totally different.
Yeah.
I think the fastest run yesterday was Ivan.
Ivan Rania, correct.
And he rode about a half an hour slower than everybody else.
And then first one in the top 10 was Jan, right? And then you were...
Yeah, and I think it was like 25 seconds back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is that's a good point, though. How do you balance that? Have you tried experimenting with that? Give away 5 minutes on the bike to get 10 minutes on the run. Is there any of that goes on? Or you guys, it's a race and you got to be at the front, you got to be in striking distance,
I don't
and
think
you got to
be away from that group.
I think...
But Rennie's 14 minutes back off the back, and she ends up winning.
But
So
it's a different game.
how close? I mean,
the guys.
Is it a different game? Because how fast did Kienle run? If you come off 10 minutes back, or if you give up 5 minutes, are you going to maybe instead of 2:47, now you run 2:40? Now you're there.
Tactically, mentally, it's a pretty high hurdle.
Right.
To say to yourself, I'm willing to give up 5 to get 10 later, and to be disengaged from the game,
leave the race.
It's hard mentally to have faith in yourself.
Yeah, have that confidence.
And when you have like a really classy field.
Yeah.
And maybe you say, okay, if I'm willing to forfeit time now for a top 10, that could be a plan for a top 10. But I don't know if that's a plan for a win.
Yeah.
And so, you know, there are people who race to win, and there are people that race for top 10. And if you want to race to win, you got to be in the mix.
You strike me as one of the guys looking for the win, not interested in top 10.
Yes.
And I like the fact that you started your Ironman training for next year because you ironed your shirt.
Yes.
You got up and brought out an iron.
Yes, I did.
The day after doing Ironman.
Yes, I was a true Ironman for the past 30 hours.
Love that.
Yeah.
Andy Potts has been our guest. The best finish ever for you here, 4th place.
Yeah.
I love that. And 2 Americans.
And to be
top
part
4.
of the best performance by Americans in a long time.
Yeah, that was super exciting. And
Yeah.
Ben, boy, he had an awesome race.
Yes, love it. Andy, thanks so much for taking time.
Thanks,
love
guys.
it.
Thank you.
Again, this is Breakfast from Kona. My name is Bob Babbitt. His name is Paul Huddle. We are presented by Active, #Inspired to Race, and brought to you by Timex Rudy Project, the sunglasses of Mr. Potts. Yeah, right there. GoPro, MPA Graphics, Lava Magazine, Babbittville Radio. Poncho Man, take us out.
It's breakfast with Bob. It's breakfast with Paul. It's breakfast with Andy.
Yeah. Woo!
Love it. Yeah.
is high, but I'm moving on. I'm gonna be your number one. It's breakfast with Bob. It's breakfast with Paul and Rini.
Poncho Man! Welcome to Breakfast from
nice.
Kona Championship Edition, presented by Active, #Inspired to Race. We're sponsored by Timex, Rudy Project, GoPro, MPA Graphics, Lava Magazine, Babbittville Radio. With us, the 3-time Ironman world champion, 1440 or so off the bike, ran her way through the field. All the men were worried about getting chicked at the same time. Mirinda Carfrae joins us. Another run course record. How the heck are you? I mean, we talk about monumental days, and you talk about, you know, Dave Scott coming from the 12 minutes back and running Mark down in 84. We talk about Mark in 95.
Performance for the ages.
Yeah, it's one of those epic
And
days.
I thought the performance for the ages was last year.
Yes.
And watching that yesterday was unbelievable.
So for you, when early in the day you were probably thinking, oh my God, what the heck is going on? These women are flying on the bike.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I didn't have the best swim out there.
It was choppy, huh?
It was, well, I mean, I don't think it was any better or worse than past years.
Yeah.
The pack I ended up in just wasn't as fast as I would have liked. And I'm not the greatest swimmer, so I couldn't really go to the front and pull
Right.
anyone around. So
Yeah,
I was kind
yeah.
of just stuck in there, and that's the pace we were swimming. I mean, honestly, it was the easiest swim I've ever done, just because I was in a pack of, 8 girls, and when you're in that big group, you kind of just get swept along. And
Right.
yeah, hopping out of the water, I kind of had a feeling that the split would be pretty large, because I knew, Jodie's been swimming phenomenally well, and with the likes of Meredith and Amanda Stevens, I have a front row seat pretty much every day to a couple of girls in training. So I knew they were in good shape, and I knew they were going to go for it on the swim. So I wasn't surprised to hear that big time, but I wasn't happy about it.
No.
And it's not the best way to start out the day, 6 minutes down on the leads. But I was with good company. I had Heather Wertel with me on the bike, Kat Morrison,
Yep.
some of the best cyclists in the sport. So I figured, if I stick with those girls, we shouldn't, be losing too much time, if any. And we really didn't lose a lot of time until around Harvey, which is always where I seem to just gaps open up.
Sure.
I don't know if they're making a move or if I'm just slowing down in that area, but I kind of got back onto the Queen K, and I think it was around 13 minutes, and I didn't lose much more time back home.
Yeah, it was like about 14 or so at 100 miles or so on the bike.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
When you hear 13 minutes, or if you heard 14 minutes when you came off the bike, obviously you've been in a position before where you're down and you know your running ability, but 14 minutes on women, you know the class of the field in front of you. How hard is it to put your head down and keep the pressure on the entire time and not give in to that, oh my God, this is a lost cause?
Well, backing up a little bit, there were some phenomenal athletes that I passed out on the bike. So I was surprised to see Leanna Cave, Michelle Vesterby, coming back from Harvey, and then, whoa.
I know, it's gigantic.
He likes us too.
And then I think I passed, a bunch of girls that last year were in that front pack and basically had 8 minutes on me at the end of the bike. So I'm like, either the girls up the front are riding really well, or these girls are just having bad days.
Yeah.
Hopping off the bike, hearing 14:30 from the lead. If you'd told me then I was going to win the race, I probably would have told you to, you're full of crap and don't tell me such nasty lies. I just sort of decided at that point I was going to control the controllables, which is all you can do, and fuel well. I was very diligent with my fueling throughout the bike leg, and I figured those girls are riding super fast. It's windy, it doesn't feel hot. But having learnt my lesson in 2012, that when it's windy and if you don't drink enough, you pay for it at the end of the marathon. And I just ran that first half, or the first 10 or 11 miles, pretty steady. I didn't try to push too hard. I tried to keep a pace that I felt that I could hold for the whole run. And I was pretty disappointed to see the split still about 10 minutes at 10 miles.
Yes.
So
exactly right,
still 10 minutes, and I'd only taken 4:40 out of Daniela. So those girls were moving. That's
They were running well.
That was impressive.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was just focused on trying to get into the top 5. Wasn't thinking it was going to be my day, and kind of just putting one foot in front of the other and doing what I could.
Now, what did you know about Daniela Ryf? Had you raced her much before?
I really haven't raced Daniela, but honestly, I saw that result. She posted. No, in way before that. I saw a result in Switzerland 70.3.
Yes.
Where her time was like less than 15 minutes or something from the pro men. And there were some good pro men in that field. Yeah. And I saw that and I went, holy crap, that is one of the best female performances I've seen over a 70.3.
Yeah.
And I knew she was with Sato, so I'm like, here we go. She'll be stepping up. She'll be stepping up to Ironman. He's going to make her super strong. He's going to make her fearless. And I mean, she didn't know she'd be racing Kona till a month out, but I had my eye on her way back in June or whatever when she started to really, really come up.
How hard was it coming back here? You've been a defending champion before. It didn't work out that well that time. This time coming back, you're a defending champion. You have the likes of Daniela Ryf, who everybody was talking about all week. You talk about Soto. I had heard that she was riding 1.5 to 2 minutes faster than Chrissy's best on the 40K, whatever that training route that they use is. Yeah. So everybody was talking Daniela Ryf. And I know everybody said you look calm, you looked relaxed, you look good, never bet against the champion, but you know how the hype is in the week before. It's absolutely nuts. How difficult was it this time? You talked a little bit about defending here. What's it like?
Yeah, I think Daniela copped a little more pressure than maybe she should have coming into this race. You remember when Chrissy came in, no one talked about her, no one knew anything about her, and she was able to sort of slide in and then set the world on fire for the next, 5 years.
5 years, yeah.
And Daniela came in. We're not going to be tricked. Fool us once.
She's going to be a player.
Exactly. A Sato athlete, he's going to get her ready, and she's going to be strong. I knew she was going to be strong. But I didn't, I'd seen some tweets or something that Sato had said that, she's training well in the heat, she can run in the heat. And I'm like, it's Kona.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's still...
You can say it, but you still have to do it.
You can do a good run session in the heat, but run off the bike in the heat for a marathon, that's efficiency. And I was kind of like, well, my pick was actually Rachel Joyce, as I said before the race. I'm like, Rachel Joyce is the most solid all-around athlete. She has a great day every year here in Kona. She knows how to get it right. It's her 6th time here, the same as me. And she was the one I was really concerned about. I thought she would catch Daniela, actually, early in the run.
I think we were thinking the same thing.
Yeah, and but hats off to Daniela. That was a phenomenal, gutsy performance. Put it out there on the bike, and then to run as well as she did for as long as she did, that was impressive.
Were those the toughest bike conditions you'd seen here?
Definitely. In my 6 years, 2012 was windy a little bit, but the winds picked up pretty much as soon as you got on the Queen K. You could feel a bit of a headwind. Yeah. And then once you were out at Waikoloa, you were getting blown around a lot, and that continued obviously all the way up to Harvey. We had a very nice tailwind coming back along the Queen K, but it didn't last long.
Then all of a sudden you went to an aid station and it turned. Yeah, totally. Turned opposite.
Yeah.
Going in with the tailwind, out with a headwind.
I know, and all I could think at that moment is, damn it, all of those girls have got 13 minutes ahead of me, and they didn't have to hit the headwind until another 5 miles up the road. But it was a tough day. It was a cooler day though on the run, which enabled me to run the speed I did, and probably not the conditions ideal for myself, but it's tough for everyone out there. The bigger girls get blown around because they're taller and bigger, but they're stronger, so they can use that bike strength. But cooler conditions on the run I think helped a lot of people.
And besides being, 1440 back, you were, I think, 8th or so off the bike. So it's not like you were 20th and had run by a ton of people. But when did you start thinking, I've never been off the podium here. I think I can get top 3. And just each person you pass is just like, I'm just going to get one person at a time.
Yeah, it was a pretty big gap. Meredith was off the bike just ahead of me, and so was Heather Wertel. So I caught those two girls pretty quickly
Yep.
in the start of the run, and then it was a long time until the next girls. And honestly, the splits out there were pretty ordinary. I was really only getting split to the first place, and I'm like, okay, well, at this point, I just want to know, I want to get in the top 5.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, what do I need to do to get in the top 5? And that was my first goal.
Sure.
And eventually, I got some splits to the top, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So my goal was to get into the top 5, and then fortunately, top 5 really meant top 3. And so I'm like, okay, awesome. A podium here is amazing. Another podium, I'll take it any day of the week.
Sure.
And I really didn't have my sights set on anything higher than that until I came through the energy lab, and I was still feeling strong and solid. I felt like I could hold on to that pace that I was running, and the girls up the front started to come back. Finally, luckily for me, they started to slow down a little bit. So at the turnaround at the energy lab, I saw Daniela and I saw Rachel, and I got my own split on
Yes.
them. And
What were they?
What was that split?
I'm pretty sure it was about 4 minutes to Daniela and 2 minutes to Rachel.
Okay.
At that point, did you go, this is possible?
At that point, I said, okay, this is not impossible.
Yeah, yeah.
And, I guess at that point, second was within reach. I didn't know if first was.
Yeah, I would think if you're Rachel Joyce especially, because she's experienced it before, but all the other women, to see Rinny even on Elite Drive, let alone the turnaround at the Energy Lab, that has to be a very daunting thing to see coming, because you are moving so much faster than everybody else, men included. Did you say anything to any of those women as you went by? I mean, and it's not, there's not a whole lot of time when you're running the speed you are relative to them to say anything, but is there any interaction?
Yeah, I always have a couple of words to the girls that I know for sure. I
On your left?
I came I came past Rachel, and having battled her so many times here, I said to her, we can't let a rookie beat us.
Is that what you
Let's
said?
go get her.
Let's go get her. Yes.
Yeah, and I actually might have sworn, but I won't say what I said. Because at that point, you're just like, all right, I'm just going to, I think I had 5 miles to go or something then.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, let's just throw it all out there. And I said that to her. And then when I caught up to Danielle, I was like, wow, that amazing performance. And
Yes.
then I said, okay, I've got to go.
But then she
I know.
tried to get on.
What
right?
did you think when
All
you
of a
heard those
sudden,
steps
like,
staying with you?
I know.
That was impressive.
I was thinking
actually
Macca.
Yeah.
I was thinking,
Everybody
she's
was.
playing a little possum here.
I don't know. I was like, I actually didn't hear her stay on me. I just kind of kept running and
Yes.
didn't try to put her out of my mind, or at least in my rearview mirror as much as possible. But it was kind of, I don't know, a mile or so, or a mile, 2 miles down the road when I'm like, okay, where is she? Can I relax yet?
Yes.
And they're like, oh, she's about 200 meters back. I'm like, that's not
No.
enough.
No.
I can't relax. So I had to keep the pedal to the metal all the way, pretty much.
Did you see Tim when you went by him? Did you guys exchange any?
I saw him coming down from Harvey, and he was in a good position.
Yes.
And I'm like, all right, he's going to have a great day. Awesome. Because I didn't think I was going to have a good day. I'm like, at least one of us is doing it for the family. Yeah. And then I got back, saw him on Elite Drive. He wasn't too far behind, but he was starting to show signs of maybe it wasn't going to be a fantastic day. And then when I was in the Energy Lab, he actually stopped because he was walking at that point. I was running down. He stopped and walked across the road and gave me a good cheer. He's like, "You're racing for both of us now."
No
I'm like,
pressure.
yeah, thanks.
No pressure. No pressure. I'm not getting a paycheck. You better get one.
Yeah.
That's
Bring
really
some
nice.
money home for us. Yeah, for sure. No, but yeah, it's tough to see your partner
Of
out there
course,
struggling.
of course. But that's the Army.
But he's like, you've got all my energy. Whatever I've got left of it, it's all yours. So, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
When you have an epic race like that, and this is one of those races people will be talking about for a long time.
Yes.
It's one thing to win, but in a classic fashion, 1440 off the bike, and knowing that, where does it rank for you in terms of your wins? Now that you got multiple to choose from, right? It's not like
They're all very special.
Yes.
I think my best performance was last year still. I think riding as well as I did last
Yes.
year.
Yeah.
I didn't ride as well this year as I did last year, I don't think. I haven't looked at the numbers or anything yet, but I'm quite certain that last year, my bike last year, given that I rode the whole way by myself,
yes.
95% of the way by myself. This year I had some girls around me. It's so much easier mentally. I had Kat and Heather
Yes.
and a couple of the European girls
Yes.
as well around me. So all the way to Harvey. So mentally it was a lot easier to
Sure.
be racing. But yeah, I think last year was probably my best individual performance.
Love it.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yes.
3-time
Congratulations.
Ironman
Absolutely
World
phenomenal.
Champion.
Thanks.
Mirinda Carfrae has been our guest. This is Breakfast from Kona Championship Edition. His name is Paul Huddle. My name is Bob Babbitt. We are presented by Active, #Inspired to Race, and sponsored by Timex, Rudy Project, GoPro, MPA Graphics, Lava Magazine, Babbittville Radio. Poncho Man, take us out.
Cause I come from the land down under. Whoa, oh, oh. Women glow and men plunder. Can't you hear the thunder? You better swim, you better bike, you better run, you better have breakfast with Bob. Woo!
And Paul.
And Paul.
That was great.
And most of them are in the. Pretty please. It's Aloha Sunday. Don't work till Monday. It's breakfast with Bob and Paul.
Thank you, Pancho Man. Welcome back to Breakfast from Kona. My name is Bob Babbitt. His name is Paul Huddle. We are beautiful Huggos. Our championship edition, we are presented by Active, #Inspired to Race. Sponsors include Timex, Rudy Project, GoPro, MPA Event Graphics, Lava Magazine, Babbittville Radio. Lovely young lady, Rachel Joyce, joining us after another phenomenal race here in Kona. So what were you thinking? Was it fun out there?
Retrospectively, maybe it was fun.
I like
But if you'd have asked me that at, I think anywhere from mile 13,
Yes.
well, maybe mile 1 of that run.
Yeah. Third place,
yeah.
obviously. When we asked you about getting second, you're like, well, I'd rather get first. So I'm
Yeah.
sure third, you're not that happy. You were the first attorney, though. You realize that. You're the
Well,
first
that's
attorney to finish a race.
Representing.
Yes, you are. Yes, yes.
You know, it's like you get really pumped up leading into a race,
Yeah.
and you know you have to punch for the top spot.
Right.
So there's always a tinge of disappointment when you don't reach that. But I'm also proud of my race. You know, I put myself in a position where I had a chance at the top spot,
Yes.
and I just couldn't pull off a good run to do that. And when you're beaten by two, you know, superb athletes.
Yes.
You know, I can't be too hard on myself. So,
No.
yeah, like when I woke up this morning, I was pretty happy that I'd put everything out there.
How hard is it in that moment? Because you have that whole week leading up with all the hype and everyone's talking about you and Daniela and Mirinda and all the other women out there. And then when you get in the race itself, I'm guessing a lot of that seems to just fade away. Now it's just you're out there with the course and the race. But when you came off the bike and you're out on that run course and we're hearing Mirinda is 14:30 down, I think everybody looked at each other and said, this is Rachel's race. This is going to be the day. Did it feel that way to you, or were you like out there just, you know, battling?
I think if you'd have said to me, like the day before the race, this is the scenario you're going to
Yeah.
have. I think I had 12 and a half minutes because I was back on Daniela. I'd have been like, yeah, I can run and keep a
Yes.
lead.
Yeah.
Because the thought was you'd run like mid-250s.
Yeah.
That's what I was aiming for.
Right? Well, that's your trade for.
Absolutely.
But once I got a few miles into the run and I was really, really suffering, and in a way that I haven't done for a while in a marathon. And I just, at that point, I was like, I was more focused on finishing the marathon than even thinking of obviously I was thinking of going for the win, but I felt so terrible. It was like, you just need to keep on running. And I was just thinking of like the next steps. And
Mentally, you go from racing to finishing.
yeah, actually I was talking to Sebastian and he was like, sometimes like last year he was running in second but felt terrible. And he was like, I can't pull out if I'm in second. And I had like that similar kind of like, come on, you just got to keep on trucking. And, I've done enough Ironmans to know that things will come round. And
Yeah.
I did start to feel better about 10 or 11 miles in. And I had a few ups and downs then, but it was then I was like, okay, it's not about just finishing the marathon. You're back in the race and you need to kind of try and make up some of the time I'd lost to Daniela. And I was trying not to focus too much on what was going on behind. I
Sure.
was still gunning to
Try
get
to
in
win
the
the race,
lead rather than thinking about what was happening behind.
We talked earlier in the week. It was like, hey, I'd like it to be blowy out there. I'd like it to be windy. I'd like this to be a hard day on the
Yeah.
bike. It was, right?
Yeah, I loved it out there.
I was going to say, I bet it was your type of day.
Yeah, it was good. We there was a kind of a group of strong riders that came out with that second
Yes.
pack, and we set out at a good pace, and we
Yes.
didn't panic to go and chase. And I felt pretty good in the early stages, and was kind of leading for a while. And I've not raced with Daniela, but I knew that I've seen her results, so
Right,
I know what she's
right.
like on the bike. But it was nice when we caught the next pack. There was a really good crosswind, so there was no chance of people staying with
Right.
them unless they could ride the power. So I love that. And it was fun coming down from Harvey. It was kind of like swaying
It's
around.
on a roller
and
coaster, right?
It was a bit like that.
Yeah.
So
While people were blowing over the guardrail.
yeah.
How many Konas is that for you now?
That's number 6.
So you understand what happened to Mark Allen and guys like Chris McCormick on number 7, right?
Yeah, and I have to come back. I took some comfort from that. I maybe need to go and have a chat with Mark.
For sure, for sure. I think it's a relief to a lot of the age group athletes who are out there to hear people like you and Sebastian who are right up there at the front thinking, you know what, this is not going well. I just want to step off right now, because I think that everybody has that moment, right?
Yeah, and I really think, I mean, any Ironman there's a huge amount of, I think it becomes more of a mental, we're all trained, but I think it's a real mental game, and I just don't, even if that thought crosses my mind, I know that my body's capable of running, and so stopping is not an option.
Yeah.
You just have to stay strong, and I think for me, that seems to be what brings success in Kona.
When Rinny went by you in the late stages of the marathon, I think we all were looking at you. We're looking at Daniela, and she seemed like she had finally faded a little bit. And so the camera kept going back, and for a while it was just on you, and we didn't know what was going on. We thought maybe you were already in second, but there was no clear indication. Then finally the graphic came up and said third place, Rachel Joyce, but
Yeah.
you were going so... You looked like you were going so well. Clearly, there was no give up at that point. And maybe you thought, you know what, second's right there. I can go get it.
Yeah, I mean, I could see her, and, I just gritted my teeth, and because at one point she had over 4 minutes on me, and at one point I got it down to 40 seconds. But someone was giving her information.
Be quiet, people. We're racing.
Chasing,
Yeah.
leading.
So I think she got wind of the fact I was starting to close the gap,
Yeah.
and she, she's a tough nut, and
Yes.
she made sure that she was holding on to second place.
The
Yeah.
cool thing was just watching you come in towards the end of the run. I know you were sick 2 years ago, and last year you were injured and didn't feel that you could really couldn't race to your potential. This year, it was the type of day you wanted, right? And getting a third place, but you got everything out of your body, and your body was healthy.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah.
And injury's the toughest thing about sport.
worst.
And to come into this without injury just made the whole preparation much more enjoyable, and made race week much more enjoyable,
Right.
because I wasn't questioning whether something was going to give up on me.
Or
so.
should you be racing or not, right?
Yes,
You're
yeah,
dealing
yeah.
with that going, you can't go into that race not being 1,000%, and
Yeah.
I'm nowhere near it. This year, everybody's got little niggles, but you knew that you were as fit as you could be and ready
Yeah.
as you could be.
Yeah,
Love it.
yeah.
Rachel, thanks so much
Yeah,
for
thanks for
taking
coming by.
time. Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
third place, another podium here in Kona. How many podiums?
That's my second podium.
Love
Nice.
I hadn't got a third spot, so I filled that gap.
it. That's right. Wait, you had a what? You had
Sixth, fifth, fourth.
That's right.
second,
6th,
third.
5th, 4th, 2nd, 3rd.
Well,
wow.
I think there's
only one missing.
There's one missing,
Yeah, yeah.
Next year. Are you
Yeah.
getting a little tired of the whole Rinny thing?
It's,
I mean,
I hang on.
it's like a
she didn't
rerun.
pass me till a bit later, but it's having competition like that brings out the best in you. So I would always want the best people to be on the line, and I'd love Chrissy to come back, because then I just think the women's race would be
unbelievable.
everyone would be there.
I've asked her, so why don't you ask her? I think that would be good. If it came from another woman, then she'd be like, this could be great for the women's movement if you come out.
I don't
and
think
race."
all the other women would be happy with you getting her back on the line. Just by the way.
I might have to rethink that.
I love that. Rachel Joyce has been our guest, third place at the Ironman World Championship, presented by GoPro. And again, this is Breakfast from Kona. My name is Bob Babbitt. His name is Paul Huddle, and we are presented by Active Inspired to Race. Our sponsors, Timex, Rudy Project, GoPro, MPA Graphics, Lava Magazine, Babbittville Radio, and our main man, Poncho Man.
It's Aloha Sunday. It's breakfast with Bob and Paul. Do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do-do-do. And Rachel.
Thank you, Poncho Man. Yay!
ring the alarm. Here comes Sebastian. I said, ring the alarm. Here comes Sebastian. It's breakfast with Bob and Paul.
Thank you, Poncho Man. Welcome to breakfast from Kona. We're at beautiful Huggos. This is our championship edition. We're presented by Active, #Inspired to Race. My name is Bob Babbitt. His name is Paul Huddle. Sponsors, Timex Rudy Project, GoPro, MPA Event Graphics, Lava Magazine, Babbittville Radio. Our next guest, Huddle,
Yes.
2014 Ironman World Champion Studio Audience. Hands together. Sebastian Kienle.
Oh, yeah.
Woo! Oh, my God. That never gets old, does it?
No, it sounds damn good.
I mean, Ironman, 70.3 world champion. That's cool. You've done that twice. But winning this, 4th, 3rd, and then winning this year, that's pretty cool.
Absolutely. I mean, it's like probably changing from bike to a car, you know.
I've changed it from bike to a big car.
Now
yes.
it's a real thing, you know. Now it's a real world championship and not only the little sister.
Right.
So, Sebastian, talk a little bit about your day yesterday. I mean, obviously, it's very fresh in your mind. It's fresh in our minds, watching you go through the swim and then onto the bike. I think the thing that surprised all of us during the bike especially was we all knew Andy Starkowitz was going to be going through the field, had a great swim, and we expected him to just launch off the front. And there was a brief moment where he got a minute, but then all of a sudden he got absorbed again, and then it was the Sebastian Kienle show from that point forward. Talk about it from all the way from the swim through that point.
You want the long story?
Absolutely, yeah. We want to hear. We want to hear how this thing went for you, because you know,
you're all retching.
Yeah, he's looking at his watch. He's like,
I'm ready to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, I think my swim was in the
54. You're good.
in the better range of what I could expect. I mean, of course, I could not expect, at least not this year, to make the front pack. But I mean, I've been in pretty good company with some very good other cyclists like Luke McKenzie, like Tyler Butterfield, James Kanama, and I mean, I know that they were in a position and where they have to do something and not only sit on my wheel. And they definitely put a lot of effort in the bike too, and that of course helped me at the beginning of the bike, helped me a lot, and also boosted my confidence. You know, coming out of the water with these guys showed me that my preparation was not that bad as I thought before the race, and I mean after like 10-15 Ks you get a feeling how your day is going to be, and my feeling was very good, and then I just started to use the momentum to go away from that group. I don't want to pull them along too much.
You don't want to drag everyone.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a chance to probably, guys like Luke and also Marino, for example,
or
they're not. In the last couple of years, they're just not used to have to catch up to the front group at the first half of the race, and I'm always used to catch up to the on the first half. So they have to ride way more offensive on the first half of the bike, and I didn't know that. And I think, of course, if you could eliminate already like 20 guys from the mess, that would be great. And that's what I was trying to do, and so I caught the front group at the end on my own, and then sometimes you could do a lot of like planning and thinking what you want to do if you catch a group, and then we were going to quite high, and you have this rolling hills, and especially in a group with like 20 guys, it always gets kind of slow if you go down. Everybody has to sit up because to stay out of the draft zone, and it's also a kind of a dangerous moment where you could get a penalty even if you don't draft intentionally.
Sure.
And then I saw some gaps opening up in the front, and I thought, well, I mean, you could wait another like 20 minutes or something, or you could go now. And then I just decided I want to go, but not in a way that I just want to open a gap as fast as possible, but just, you know, start to put pressure on the group.
Yeah.
And of course the wind, the strong crosswind up to Hawaii helped definitely, because everybody in the group has to put in the same effort. There's no benefit of riding in the group anymore. And that was what I was looking for. And yeah, it kind of made me smile when I turned around in Hawaii and see the group, like there is no group anymore. Everybody's riding on his own, and that's the best thing that could happen when you go back, because everybody has to put a lot of effort in, and the guys who could potentially outrun me, they are not that fast runners anymore if they have to go on their own the whole way back. And
Exactly.
that was the strategy on the bike. I mean, it's always, like I said, it's always planning is the one thing, and then executing is another thing. And Mike Twelzig also helped me. I mean, it was just like perfect conditions.
It did seem like he helped, but then it seemed like you just said at about 90, 95, you're like, all right, bye-bye.
Yeah,
I mean, it was like, boom, you just had this big gap.
On this way, hi to Paul Thomas, if he could hear me.
Yeah, Paul Thomas.
Yeah, we were training together in Tucson
yes.
some days, and I mean, it was just like really nice to see him having a decent race again. And I think, yeah, you mentioned when I pulled away from him, but I think it was more. We had really to struggle on the aid stations, because at this point we had really a very strong tailwind. We were going like 75 kph at this point. It was crazy. I mean, sometimes I had to stop pedaling because it was just I was spinning it out.
So like 45 miles an hour for those.
It was really, really fast. And then, of course, we got in trouble at the aid stations because we just flying
too
by.
fast.
They can't get a bottle.
Yeah, and then I think we both missed like 2 aid stations. And I mean, you know what this could done. In every other race, you say like, I don't care. I mean, let's go to the next aid station. And
Not
but
this race.
in Kona, you don't want to miss anything, you know, and just. Then I really have to slow down at a certain point, and I think he slowed down at the next aid station, and that's where I had all my nutrition dialed up again, and I think that's where I lost him. Yeah.
So all week long, all we kept hearing about Sebastian's injured.
Running in the water.
And actually,
he's injured.
I don't know where that came from, but the funny
jogging.
part is when you it was right after your interview. And Pete was either coming or going, Pete Jacobs, and he said something like, so I hear you've been running in the water, and you said, yeah, my foot's broken and my arm is broken, and you should just let me go on the bike because I can't run. Where did that start? Were you injured?
Was that a rumor or was that true?
I mean, I had some troubles again with my my Achilles, but not really anything that stopped me from my doing a proper preparation.
Yes.
So I mean, just nothing out of the ordinary. I mean, everybody has some small.
Everybody's got something.
Some small issues, and so I don't think that you could call it injured. And I mean, for me, you know, agua running, how you call it, it's just
something you
do.
It's
just a good thing for me. It's not because I'm injured or something. And
it was really good though, because everybody was like, they saw you,
everybody,
and they thought, oh my God, he can't run on the road.
Let
He's
him
running in the
go.
pool.
But I also read some interviews where people were saying like, yeah, Kienle is uncertain. He's probably be injured, and yeah, well, I mean, if you want to believe that, it's. I don't want to fight against it, you know.
No,
sometimes
it's a good thing.
It's better to say nothing about it and let the people believe what they want to believe. But no, I mean, I was doing okay.
Yes, obviously.
No big troubles.
So you obviously had an amazing performance in Frankfurt this year against two of the big contenders at this race, Frederik van Lierde and Jan Frodeno. How much did that A, help you in terms of your confidence, but then B, how much pressure did that put on coming into this race with everybody talking about, in addition to everybody else, Frederik van Liert and Jan Frodeno, and having those sort of guys, Frodeno especially, knowing what happened to him and going, oh God, if he puts everything together.
Especially with Mont Tremblant, it helped me a lot because then there was something to think about and to fall back on and have some good memories. My coach put all the magazines where I was on the cover from the Frankfurt victory with my splits and everything on our TV table and that I could look at something positive and. I don't think it put that much pressure on you because there's the statistic behind it that nobody ever won Ross or Frankfurt and Kona in 1 year.
Exactly.
So a lot of people more said like, he was that fit in July. It's probably not gonna happen because most people that are that fit early in the season they can't hang on till the end. I mean, I did know that I was. Already at a very high level in Frankfurt, so I really took my time after Frankfurt and just like had not only 1 week off but 2 weeks off and just started very slow and easy with my training again. And it was probably too easy and too late for Mont Tremblant, but for here, just on the money.
Exactly. So when you look at the history of this race, you've got Thomas Hellriegel, you've got Norman Stadler, you've got Faisal Sultan, and you got Sebastian Kienle. I mean, that's pretty cool stuff.
Just before I came down here, I waited like 2 minutes and I looked in your book, with all the history behind it, and it's not only the German winners, but of course, I know them, Scott, everybody personally, and there's it's just a great honor to be in this list.
I think there's only something like now I think it's 19 men and 18 women who have ever won this race.
Yeah.
So you're on a very, very short list. Very, very special. What did it feel like coming across the line?
I think you don't have to ask that.
I think we want to know because we're never going to see it.
That's right.
Yeah, we're never
right.
going to know.
Not in first place, that's for sure.
It's it's a mixture, of because I wanted to stay so focused the whole race, also on the run. People were telling me after 20 miles, you've got this thing, start to celebrate, start to smile, and I was like,
were you getting
running like a robot. But on the way back from the turnaround in the energy lab, there was not so much splits. I was screaming at my coach and that he should give me this damn splits because I was so afraid to turn around and so this guy is running 100 meters behind me. And I'm not a Kona veteran, but I've seen so many people struggling at the end and it looked, secured. You thought like, no way he's gonna lose this thing anymore. And then he lost it.
Right.
He lost it. And something I don't wanna make. I was really afraid till the end that something stupid might happen, and I was like crawling down Palani Road not to get any cramps or something. And then when you cross the finish line, only like 80 meters before, I start off, open my eyes and realize everything around me, and it's like a explosion of emotions and. Together with all the pain and what you have gone through, not only in the race but in the weeks before, it's like that's the reason why people are doing it. When people ask me why the heck are you doing this, it's just hard and it can't be fun, and of course often it's not fun, but this moment that's what you're working for. And when you see, for example, a guy like Jan Frodeno, he's used to win races, he is Olympic champion.
Yes.
And he came over the line third place, and you could see in his eyes how happy he was. And after 8 hours pushing your body to the absolutely limit, you can't fake something like that, It's just like
just coming out of you. And I think that was what everybody experienced, not only the winner.
I think there's going to be a few people in Germany watching this interview, and we wanted to give you the opportunity to say, give some words in German to your
Ja,
fans.
erstmal die besten Grüße natürlich an das engere Umfeld daheim. Dann an alle Grüße. Wer ist einen Marathon gelaufen? Wo sind sie gelaufen? Nein, wo sind sie gelaufen? Und natürlich an alle Leute, die in München den Marathon gelaufen sind, vor allen Dingen die ganze Karlsruher Crew. Ich weiß nicht, ob ihr euch die Nacht um die Ohren geschlagen habt, aber es hätte sich auf jeden Fall gelohnt, aber ihr könnt es sicher nochmal im Real Life angucken. Und dann natürlich auch an sonst alle Triathlon-Bekloppten und Sportverrückten. Beste Grüße, Aloha.
What Sebastian just said was, thank you so much for watching Breakfast from Kona with Bob Babbitt and Paul Huddle, presented by Active, #Inspired to Race, sponsored by Timex, Rudy Project, GoPro, MPA Graphics, Lava Magazine, Babbitttville Racing. How about another big round of applause for the 2014 Ironman World Champion, presented by GoPro, Sebastian Kienle. Poncho Man, take us out.
Ring the alarm, cause here comes Sebastian. Ring the alarm, here comes Sebastian. And it's Breakfast with Bob, and it's Breakfast with Paul on Aloha Sunday
Poncho Man!
morning.
Thank you, Ironman champion.
Ironman champion.
She's got her posse with her, man. Yeah.
I love that.
It's Breakfast with Bob and Paul.
Poncho Man, thank you so much. Welcome to Breakfast from Kona, from beautiful Huggos, Championship Edition. We are presented by Active, #Inspired to Race, and brought to you by Timex, Rudy Project, GoPro, MPA Graphics, Lava Magazine, and Babbittville Radio. Our next guest is a young lady who finished second yesterday, her first time Ironman World Championship, Daniela Ryf. Daniela, thank you so much for taking time. Oh, and Stella, sorry, I forgot to.
Yeah, don't forget Stella.
I forgot to introduce Stella as well. So, since we have not spent any time chatting, we're going to find a little bit more about you. You're how old? You're 27 years old.
Yes, that's right.
But when I was looking online, you've been doing this stuff since the early 2000s. What got you into triathlon?
Yeah, I've always, been sporty as a kid. I started really young with swimming and athletics, so my mom kind of got me into that and some running. And then just my coach, I did like a little camp in like a youth camp, and so that's where I met my coach in 2000, and he got me into it. It's the club called the Wildcats.
Yeah, okay.
So I was
the Wildcats.
The Wildcats, like the University of Arizona Wildcats, Bob.
Exactly. And where in Switzerland?
In Switzerland, yeah. So that's how I started with. That was kind of my youth,
Now, did you know about Natasha Bodman and some of the legends from Switzerland?
I always looked up to Natasha Bodman. She's been, she's an amazing athlete. She had so many wins, and so when I just started the sport, she was, in her best years. And, she's amazing.
So Daniela, all week, and again, Bob and I didn't know a whole lot about you. We obviously knew about you through your performances this year, but the way we primarily knew about you was as the favorite for this race. And coming in as a rookie, it's really difficult to get those kind of, that amount of attention. But it seemed very similar to when a gal named Chrissy Wellington came, because we knew about Brett Sutton, we knew about your performances, but we didn't know a whole lot about you. Did you feel the pressure coming in here? Had you ever been here? Obviously you hadn't been here before, but did you understand what you were getting into when you came here? I understand that you saw Lee drive for the first time when, Bob?
Was it Friday?
I saw Lee drive first yesterday on the run.
That's unbelievable. That's crazy.
So when you checked your bike in, you didn't even go on a Lee drive?
No, I didn't. I didn't even know there was hilly. I was really surprised it was a little bit rolling.
So when did you get to
When
town?
did you get here? When did you see all this?
I only came on Tuesday.
Wow.
Yeah, but I think that was a good thing, so I didn't have too much time to think.
Yes,
that's probably Brett's plan as well, not to overthink it. And for me, to come here, I had a really warm welcome and really enjoyed the short time I was here on the island. But I feel like it's a great island. Really, everyone is really happy. Like I have not seen any, not happy Hawaiian person on the island. So I really enjoyed my time. And as a rookie, it's always hard, But then also I didn't feel any pressure. I just felt like I want to try my best, and I went out there to just push it hard, and that's what I did, and I'm happy.
Well, I think it was one of the best rookie performances we've ever seen here, and we've seen some really good ones, but it was really impressive to see you out there and in the front all day. Talk a little bit about the difference in being the hunted and having that pressure of being up front for a long time, and then maybe starting to hear the splits and how you handle that mentally when you hear who's coming behind you.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it on the bike. I knew I was kind of making time on the others, so I just focused on keep on the pressure and pushed really hard. And then, on the run, it started to get, a bit hard after 25 Ks. I felt really good on the run, and then that was probably my mistake. I kind of was, feeling good and you're on leading, and I didn't want to spend too much time at the aid station, so I missed a few gels, and that was probably why I hit the wall at K30. And then seeing Rini coming, I guess, speedy Rini.
Yeah.
It was really hard to see her, catching up so quickly. yeah, I did the best I could. I came, like, as I had a bit food after like 30K, I came back again. The last few Ks were okay, but there was nothing I could do against Rinny coming so quickly from behind.
And were you getting some splits? So a lot of times the people who are leading don't really know what's going on behind them, and the people who are behind are getting splits all the time on the person leading. Did you know? I mean, obviously in the energy lab you saw her, but did you get an idea as you were coming back on the Queen K Highway how close she was getting?
Well, on the way back, I was pretty much only focused on getting some energy because I was really bunking.
Yes.
So I didn't really care about Rinny. Actually, I was just, I need some food. I need food.
Yes, yes.
But yeah, seeing her on the turnaround,
Yes.
it was a bit of a shocker because I thought I had like 6 minutes.
Yes.
And I think that was kind of where I lost it a bit. I probably just slowed down and without noticing. And
Yes.
and then yeah, that's kind of. Like, it's always hard in the front. It's easier to catch.
Yes.
And then, yeah, I mean, I tried my best. I ran as hard as I could.
No, you ran 3:07. You ran a great first-time marathon. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It sort of, Huddle reminds me sort of Thomas Hellriegel in 95 when
Sure.
he built up like a 12, 13-minute lead on Mark Allen. Had a great day and just got caught by somebody who had a great run on that particular day.
So
okay.
when you're out there running and Rinny goes by, I think one of the most astounding things to see in any Ironman, especially in the last 10K of the Ironman marathon, is people with the ability to react and respond and actually race. When Rinny went by, we were both a little bit blown away. We're like, oh my God, she's not going away. She's gonna give it. She's gonna fight her. And you did that.
I mean, you cannot just leave someone run past you.
I think you can at that stage in the marathon and an Ironman.
Everybody goes by us, just goes by.
Give up, Uncle. Yeah,
I was actually quite in like a bad moment then. Still,
Sure.
like just getting the energy back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I tried. Like I kind of tried to focus when like I felt she's coming because all the motos were coming around and they were talking about we're gonna film them from this angle. Like when they head to head, I'm like I just hope that head to head is gonna take a while. So I was.
So they're talking about.
I could hear
she's gonna come and catch it like you're not there.
Yeah.
Like you can't hear them. Yeah, she's from Switzerland. She won't understand. Listen, Rinny's coming, so let's get it from this angle. So that's nice.
So that's how I knew she's coming.
So you feel like you're in a movie,
Yeah, that's it.
So when she did go by, you fought a little bit, but then I think at that point, for an athlete at that stage, like you said, you're bonking, things are going south a little bit. Rinny goes by, and I'm sure you also know that Rachel Joyce is behind you and also starting to make up ground. How hard was that? How difficult was that to have the mental fortitude to go, you know what, one person, okay, it's Rinny. No one else. I've been leading this race all day long. This is my race. I'm not giving up second now.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I mean, when I passed K30, I was actually worried I'm not going to make it to the finish line.
Sure.
And then, I came okay again. And when Rinny passed me, I kind of got, back into that rhythm. And I was like, well, I'm just going to have to try to, I mean, you never know. She might have a cramp or whatever. Like,
sure. Yeah.
I just, I knew that Rachel was coming too. And that's where I was like, oh, you know what? The day's been so long. It's only 5Ks to go. You just have to dig deep and put your head down. And I just wanted to. I'm really happy with my last 4K. I think they were actually quite good. So, I pretty much went all out again.
Did you know that Rachel got within 40 seconds?
Yeah, I felt she. Like I mean. Yeah, I kind of, smelled her almost. It's like, but then, having some, like Rinny passing me, I just focused on her.
Yeah.
I think it's better to look forward and not backwards.
Yeah, for sure.
Always looking forward. So, someone was telling me last night that what was in your special needs bag? Like Red Bull and walnuts?
Yeah.
Walnuts? I've never heard of walnuts.
Where did that come from?
I'm still working on my nutrition. It's
you
not.
Think? Red Bull and
salted walnuts?
You like duct tape the walnuts to the Red Bull can?
Yeah,
and put that in the bag?
I think walnuts are. I mean, I'm still trying to few things out.
Something to crack them open?
No, they were already prepared. Yeah, you don't want to. You don't have time.
Was Stella in your special
bag?
needs?
No, Stella didn't come with. That is funny.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was not the walnuts that I bonked. I think so.
No. So, when you look back, I mean, again, you started so young, and you've been on two Olympic teams, right? You were 7th in Beijing, and then you also did London.
Yeah.
Making the transition from that style of racing to 70.3 and this. How tough has that been?
Yeah, it was actually quite surprising to me how easy it felt for me.
Yes.
Because I've always been a strong rider, and doing my first half Ironman last year, I was like, wow, it's really a lot of fun because you're just out there on the bike for a long time, and that's where I can make time, you know.
Everybody thinks that. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and we just blow everybody away.
Well, you know, I always like to push hard, like even in training. I always enjoyed the long rides and the long runs, and when I did Zurich in July this year, that was my first Ironman, and I was really like, I mean, I had a few bad moments too. Not like everything was great, but then on the run, or like the whole bike was kind of like, it's just kind of like a long training day, and then just a bit, not even that much faster, just a long training day, and with other people around cheering for you, and then when you finish,
and they give you food.
You even give you food and money. So it's like,
see, I always tell people I don't like training. I like people. I only go to do something where someone gives me a T-shirt and food. And see, you get a T-shirt, food, and money.
Yeah, I mean, we can't really complain. You know?
No, exactly. This isn't a bad place to be.
Yeah.
So obviously, you're a talent that has a really bright future here in Kona. What is the lesson that you take away from yesterday? You're going to have a whole year to assess, and you and Brett Sutton can, you know, make the preparations for next year. But is there something that immediately right now you go, you know what, if I had done X, maybe the result's a little bit different? Is there something that you feel like you learned right away about this race?
Definitely. It was the food on that day. If I would, like, I dropped a few gels, I dropped one bar, and I was like, oh yeah, whatever, you know, you don't turn around, you don't have time.
Yeah.
And just little things like this, or like passing the aid stations too quickly, and then you realize, oh shit, I didn't even have any water. You know?
Yeah.
And I think I learned from this, and
Nutrition
next year,
is important.
it's of course it's very important, and still, it's having a calm head in the hot heat, you know, in Kona is probably the key, I guess. Yeah,
for sure.
So was Sato happy with your performance?
Yeah, he was very happy. Yeah, I mean, everything went on plan. That's exactly how we planned it. Swim was okay. The bike, I tried to increase it every 10K and just pushed everything ahead. And I mean, 14 minutes on Rinny was all. I mean, that was more I thought I could do.
Yes.
And then she had a fantastic run, and I had an okay run, and so that was the maximum yesterday I could do. So
did she say anything when she went by?
I wasn't sure if I understood her right, but I think she said, like, you know, great race on you.
Congratulations on a great race.
Good job.
Basically, usually when Rinny catches somebody, it's congratulations, good job, and I'm gone. And I think she was a little surprised when you were like, I think I'll stay here for a while.
Oh, I didn't stay that long though.
No, but it was still.
You stayed at all.
Nobody's ever stayed at all. That was really, really impressive. So, is your season over now? You get a little time off? I know Sato is one of those people who likes people to train hard all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have a few, you know, easier days. I'm going back tomorrow. I need to go back to uni, actually, because I already missing out on 4 weeks. So Thursday is going to be back to school.
Oh, you're still in school?
Yeah.
And what are you studying?
I need to do something for my brain, you know?
Yes, you do. What are you studying?
I'm studying food science and management. Yeah.
Food science.
You could use that yesterday.
I'm gonna. No, it's not nutrition.
It's a lot of chemistry.
Everyone thinks it's nutrition, but it's actually, you know, food development. So I'm working on, you know, some really fun, good products for the aid stations. You know, like walnuts, and maybe I can mix something up for next year.
Some out of walnuts and put them in the Red Bull.
Yes.
As a fellow food science major. Nice job.
Really?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, University of Arizona, food science.
You've done a lot with that. So
we'll see what she does.
You guys are staying in Waikoloa?
Yes.
So really, you rode Waikoloa to Kauai High and back?
How do you mean?
In training. And did you ride once on the course?
I didn't ride much. I only rode.
Once?
Yeah, like pretty much once.
Twice. So will you come back and see more of the course? I mean, or do you feel like I've seen it now? I'm good?
No, I think. Well, I have seen it now. I think it was actually really good to stay in Waikoloa because it broke up the bike.
Yes.
So for me, like I did one ride out towards Hawi to the
To Kauai High?
Yeah,
Or all
like,
the way to Hawi?
No, not
Just
quite
to the
that.
turn.
Just to the bottom of the hill.
Okay, yeah.
So I
Maui
knew
Kona.
that part. So it was kind of like from the start, I knew I had to go to my hotel, and then I knew I had to go to Hawi, and then I knew there was some hill. I didn't know how long, how steep it was, and then back to the hotel, and then back to the
to
transition.
Was there any
Yeah.
surprising about the run since you hadn't seen it?
Yeah, there was one bad surprise. Yeah, like that hill up, and then she laughed.
Polani, or Energy Lab, yeah, coming out.
Didn't
Yeah,
like that, but yeah, I mean, no, I think it was, yeah, I was prepared for the race. It's not that I wasn't prepared.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, yeah, next year, I think mentally it might help for the run to know, like, you know, the core. Like,
Yeah, where all
to
that
know,
stuff
yeah,
is.
you
It'd
can
be
break
good to
it
know
up.
the course a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah,
Yeah.
that wouldn't be bad. A lot of athletes, it's funny because most people came right from 70.3 at Mount Tremblant and came here and have been training
You know,
since
it's
then.
the opposite school of thought, right? Everybody is like a camp for a month in Kona.
Yes.
Daniela's like, never
day
see the
is
course,
good.
come in and race.
Yeah, well, we stayed in Cozumel, so
Yeah.
we trained 4 weeks there, and that's really
That's hot.
humid and hot.
Yeah.
So I think for the conditions, I was prepared really well, and then also, you know, having like doing too many things before the race can
Yeah.
really tire you as well.
Sure.
So I was quite glad to not have to do too much and
I-
just focus on.
I think if you're one of the other women and you know that now she actually knows the course,
Yes, yes.
it's a little frightening.
How do you compare this to the Olympic experience? I mean, the Olympics are so special, and in long distance racing, this is sort of the Olympics. How do you compare the two, since you're one of the few people who's actually done both?
Yeah, the Olympics are very full on. You know, like the pressures. I mean, I felt a lot of pressure doing
Yeah.
the Olympics with, you know, federation, and like the whole qualification is really full
All the
on.
politics and
And
all that
when
stuff,
you
yeah.
get there, there's a lot of athletes actually so tired they don't even.
They're done before they race.
And I really think how it is with the points, and you know, I mean, it worked out really well for me how I could qualify. It
Yeah.
was had 3 really good races, and it was done.
Yes.
And yeah, I think the whole, you know, the days before, they're much more. I felt they were much more relaxed here than when I was in London or in
Right.
Beijing. Might be also that I, you know, a bit. I changed a
had
bit.
one of
Maybe
them
I
here.
loosened up a little bit.
Yeah.
You know. So.
I love it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's both have been great experience, and I certainly really enjoyed this experience here on the weekend.
And you came down to the finish line at midnight last night and really got a sense of the culture of the island and all
Yeah,
that
it was
stuff.
a lot of fun. I was really positive, surprised how they, you know, had a, you know, great atmosphere, great party out there. It's inspiring, and to see these people, you know, the athletes coming in after almost 16 hours and
17.
Oh yeah, 17.
Yeah.
They're still smiling and
I know.
they're so happy. So it's also an inspiration.
Daniela, it's so great to have you in our sport, and it's so great to have you over here in Kona. It just changes the dynamics, right,
Yes,
Huddle?
absolutely. Yeah, it's
27
gonna
years
be-
old, going second place first time out,
Yeah.
putting 14:40 on the defending champion. That's awesome. That shows
Thank
that
you.
you're not scared of anything, are you?
Yeah, I'm you know, I just like to race hard and push and see what you can do, and I'm looking forward to come back next year and try it again.
How many family members?
Pardon?
How many family members are here?
Here, my mom.
Your mom?
Yeah.
And it looks like she's got a posse.
Yeah. Pardon?
She's got some friends with her.
Yeah, lots of friends, and I had a really good support team. It was probably like one of the keys as well, you know, for me, because I didn't know anything, like even like the whole setup, how you
Sure.
prepare everything, and that really was a good help for me to be here and have the
Love it.
team around.
Huddle?
Well, I know you're going to be excited to come back. I'm sure all the women that you're racing against are really
not.
excited to have you
Yeah,
back.
no, they're very excited. and a little background on this
On
guy.
Stella?
Yeah, well, it's not a big story. It's just, you know, Brett Sutton always likes the nicknames.
Yes.
He chose Angry Bird.
For you.
Yeah.
Because.
Because I'm always angry. No, not really. No, I think it's the
Well,
the face.
the audience is not.
Yeah, well,
You're all like,
she's
no,
always angry.
it's the face I do when I'm, you know, focused.
What's the face? Come on, let's
it's
see the
like-
focus face. Ooh, Huddle, wait.
No, I don't know. I can't do it. It's just.
Go ahead. Let's see if it looks the same. Go ahead. Go.
Well, no, it's just, you know, when you focus, you have kind of that eine
I've never
Tiger,
had that,
like
so
that killer instinct.
Killer
Yeah,
instinct.
yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
And well, she doesn't really look like she has much killer instinct, but yeah, it's the cutest from the Angry Bird. So
Travels with you everywhere.
I thought pink would fit, you know.
Yes. Travels with you everywhere.
Pardon?
Travels.
Yeah,
with you
well, it's quite new. It's only like a few months. I got
okay.
that name, so it's
It's
honor.
rookie trip to
Well, it's
Hawaii as well.
Yeah,
Yes.
well,
Love that.
it's my lucky how do you call it?
Lucky charm.
Yeah, lucky charm.
Yeah.
Lucky charm.
Yeah.
Daniela, thanks so much
Thank
for
you.
joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Daniela has been. How about a big round of applause for our silver medalist at the Ironman World Championship, brought to you by GoPro. My name is Bob Babbitt. His name is Paul Huddle. That is a wrap, Huddle.
Yes, it is. That was
Breakfast
a
from Kona.
fun week.
Presented by Active, hashtag Inspired to Race. Check out all of our interviews on Ironman.com, on Babbittville.com. Our sponsors, Timex, Rudy Project, GoPro, MPA Graphics, Lava Magazine, Babbittville Radio. Poncho Man, thank you for an amazing week, my man. Huddle, you're the legend.
Big thanks to John Geffron.
John Geffron for
Yep.
producing, and for Daniela for being our best guest ever. That's right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. That's a wrap.
I wish upon the star, wake up where the clouds are far behind. And it's breakfast with Bob and Paul and Daniela and Stella.
Poncho Man.
And Stella, nice, good rhyme.
Stella. Thanks, everybody.